Hey, everyone. It is Hennifer Bianca Gant. I'm the founder of Career Image Solutions, where we support working professionals as well as companies take their businesses and or careers to the next level through all that we know through HR and much more. We specialize in all things hiring. And today I'm going to talk to you about one of the things that happen in the workplace, but nobody really talks about it. We are talking about tech shame. Now, listen, I am an older millennial. It depends on when you're watching this video, but I'm considered, regardless, I am considered an older millennial. And here's the bottom line. You tend to think about tech shame, especially when you are thinking about older generations, right? If you might be thinking about baby boomers, or you might be thinking about, I don't know. But when you think about someone that has tech shame, you're not necessarily thinking about someone who is a teenager. When you think of a teenager, you're automatically thinking, oh my goodness, that teenager, I need help with technology. Let me ask my teenage daughter. Let me ask the kid at church, right? But the reality is that tech shame is happening at many different generations, and we would be shocked at how it is happening, especially with Generation Z. If you can just imagine, either the cooler or you run into somebody on the Zoom meeting and they initially say, I'm not tech savvy. What happens to you when you hear those terms, right? Especially if you're like a project leader, and especially like if you've just hired the person and they say those words, I'm not tech savvy. Now, here's the bottom line. I've said that before, but I know on the other side what that feels like when somebody said, I'm not tech savvy. So what they essentially mean is like, hey, it takes me a little longer to do whatever it is with technology. But here's the deal. When we think about people that make those types of comments, we tend to think that it's the older workers that might experience sayings like, I'm not that tech savvy. Well, I read an article recently by Work Life, and I wanted to share a few things with you. It was called Work Life, and it says that 1 in 5 of the 18 to 29-year-olds polled in a report, and they surveyed about 10,000 office workers in the US and UK markets. They said that they felt judged, and what Work Life calls it is tech shame. They call it tech shame. I thought that was such a cute term to call it. They felt tech shame. So, which is really interesting, because the reality is that there is tech shame being experienced in every generation. And I'm here to tell you, the reality is that many of us are now falling into the category of tech shame because maybe we didn't necessarily utilize the same technology that's being used now. The bottom line is I wanted to just kind of share some pros and cons and some things that might need to be considered in the workplace. Okay, so number one, if you are working in a larger organization and you have an ability to influence training dollars, how training dollars are spent, you might not want to overlook the fact that a majority of your workforce might want some type of technology training. You'll be surprised how many people would still want some training on Microsoft Excel or PowerPoint. You would be shocked at how many people would still want to get some training on that, even with some of the common systems that you are using, just to see how they can optimize their use of it. For example, for our company, we use QuickBooks for like our accounting and bookkeeping software, and they literally just did a whole face change, and it's annoying. Every time I feel like I find out how to do something, I'm like, if the button changes, it moves. But the reality is that I have to be flexible. Things are always going to change. And one of the things that I've learned about a lot of the software that I use is that they don't ask my permission before it changes. So we have to be just fluid with the changes that are happening with technology. So that's tip number 2. I encourage you to be, if you are in a company, for you to be a company that is promoting, that's incentivizing, that's encouraging people to experience technology, to feel it at their fingertips. Don't let them cop out and say, well, I don't know how to do that. Can somebody else just do it for me? Don't let them cop out, because it's going to do them and you a disservice if you do so. I do have some tips though for the working professionals, especially if you find yourself being tech shamed. Okay. So one of the things that I would recommend is go to the library. I know, believe it or not, the library still exists. If you are in the United States watching this, there are many libraries all around the United States. If you don't have one close to you, believe it or not, you could still get registered with a library and get access to their programs online, even if you are not nearby a library. Yes, it is true. But one of the reasons that I said go to the library is because the library has access to so many different programs and softwares, and any of the softwares that you might be having problems with at work, you might be shocked. The library might have access to those same programs. And because the librarians are there, they actually would be more than willing to support you. And one of the great things about this is that during this time, it will be outside of work. So you don't have to feel tech shamed, right? Because all of what you would be doing in enhancing and sharpening your skills will be done outside of work in another place where nobody probably even knows you. But again, it will help you become more confident next time you have to maybe touch the same technology that you've been utilizing, or even new technology. Okay. Second thing is YouTube University. Oh my gosh. One of the things that I have noticed most often, just like a personality characteristics, because I know people that are in the silent generation and baby boomers that are more tech savvy than those that are Gen Z. Okay. And one of the main reasons is because they actually go and do their own self-study. They're figuring it out. They're not, oh, I don't know how to do it, so I'm not going to do it. No, they're actually going and getting the newest phone. They're getting the newest gadgets. They're buying the Apples. They're not afraid to say, hey, I'm going to go and buy the latest gadget, because they have a philosophy and a mindset that I'm not going to be afraid of change. And which is why that's my second recommendation, which is to go to YouTube University. One of the best universities there are in the world, period. I know I'm a little biased, right? Because I actually visit there just about every day. Now, many times there are people even on our team. Sometimes they'll come to me and ask me questions. So now I'm actually encouraging my team to do the same thing and say, hey, did you check out what YouTube had to say? Because I guarantee you there's probably a video that walks you through how to pivot a table in Excel. I mean, literally, YouTube is like Google on steroids for videos on how-tos. So I just want to encourage you that if you are feeling tech shamed by any means, you want to definitely go to YouTube University and see what you can learn there. Now, I know there are many of us that are, like myself, very hands-on. I might say, no, I need you to walk me through it. I don't want to watch it. And I'm here to tell you that's just an excuse. Okay. Now, I know that sometimes people learn better when they are touching an actual software, but the reality is that it doesn't have to be that way. And tip number 3 will be to ask for help. Ask for help. Now, again, I know that's kind of opposite to the tech shame, because it's like, Hennifer, how would I ask for help if I'm being tech shamed at work? And the reality is that sometimes it just depends on the type of culture that's at your job. And the reality is, like, you don't want to be that person who is always saying that they can't do something because of technology, right? You don't want to be that person. Oh, if you just keep showing me, I'll get it. It's okay. But you just don't want to be that person. I'm telling you, on the other end, people are thinking like, oh my gosh, they're going to slow me down. And again, there's nothing wrong with asking for help, but just make sure that when you ask for help that you've tried it on your own first. And again, I'm specifically talking about technology. Somebody created a technology. Somebody created a demo for the technology. Somebody had to teach somebody how to use technology. There's always been a time where technology was new and somebody had to learn it from scratch. I don't even know when the first time Microsoft Word came out, but I'm sure somebody had to go and start teaching people how to use Microsoft Word. And if you were a learner like me, I have to kind of touch things, see where things are. But again, I won't know the questions to ask if I don't go in myself first. So again, just a tip, You don't have to take it, but don't feel afraid to ask for help. But maybe try asking for help after you tried it, after you've done it on your own. I hope that these tips were helpful, and I hope that you are not the one out here text shaming people, but I know that it's a real thing. So shout out again to the Work Life community for this amazing article. And I hope that you all can glean from some of these statistics that I shared with you all today. And maybe you could take some things back to your organizations and or how you manage others. So until next time, everyone, don't forget to command your day, and feel free to check out the description box below for all of the information about Career Image Solutions. Have a good one, everyone.